Welcome to this session on Microsoft Access. In this module, I want to create a contact tracing database. So first off, what we need to do is create a couple of tables. So on the left there, I've got a contact table and a contact tracing table. And if I close both of these down, I have link those together with the contact ID. So the idea would be you have a contact, a list of a person, and then if they test positive for COVID-19, all their contacts will be listed in this table. I'll close that down, just save that change. I've created a form called form contact tracing, which is just roughly created, which would allow you to see that person and then all the contacts that person mentions. So to create all of this, I'll just delete these off and create them again. So this is step one of several steps for this whole process. But first off, let's create a table. Create table, design. So primary key, this first one's going to be a primary key. So it's going to be contact ID. And that's going to be an auto number for this example, and you just need to set that to a primary key because that's the unique identifier. So then we're going to have first name, surname, and address, city, county, postcode. That'll do. All of those are short text. Then date of test, that'll be a date time. So I'm just pressing D for date time. And then positive, which will just be a yes, no field. Yes, no field. So the positive, and that is going to be a tick box or not a tick box. So if it's not ticked, they're not positive. And then location where they were. Now I might need to come back to this location because they may well not know where they got the virus from. So it could be several locations. I might have to have several location fields. But I'll see how that pans out as we develop this. And what else can I put in there? Let's have a quick look what I put in the other one. If I go into design on that. Oh yeah, telephone number and email, that would help. So tel number, email, and they can all stay as short text. So the date field needs to be set with an input mask so we can restrict the type of dates that go in there or the format of the date. So the table is going to be table contacts 1. Table contact 1 because I've already got one. And then we want short date, which sits like that in the field. I'm just going to go finish because that's all I need to do. There's no other date fields or other things I need to do there, so that's okay with that. Save that table, close it down, close that one down, create a new table, table design. So this is now going to be contact tracing ID, which will also be the auto number. And then we'll have, let's just have a quick look what I've got in there. With our first name, so basically all the same with a few extra fields at the end. So what I could have done there, in fact, is what I will do. I'll just delete that and not save it. Is I'll just copy that table, Control-C copy, and then paste. So then it's going to be, get rid of that copy of, contact tracing with a number 1 after it. So we get exactly the same. And then if I just go into design on this one to have a quick look what I did, we need to add these the contact ID field, contacted yes or no, date contacted, positive, isolating yes or no. So if I just right click on that, so we need to, let's just copy these, I think. That's it. We don't have to type them all out again. So contact ID is what's going to link it to the contact one table. Contacted is a yes, no. Date time, that needs to be, an input mask needs to be put onto that. Save. Input mask. Why is it doing that to me? Save. Okay, I've got a duplicate contact ID. So this needs to be changed because this is the contact tracing ID. That's what happens when you copy things. That's it. So save that. So now it should let me do the format input mask. Yep. So we can do short date, check it, finish. That's in there. Yes, no, contact ID, email. Everything else is okay there. So close that down. Save. Close that down. Now we're creating a form. So when you create a form, before I create a form, actually, I'll do the relationships, database window. So that's the one I did before. So I'll just leave that because I'm going to delete these ones off as soon as I've done this video. So now I need to add contact 1 and contact tracing 1. And then link those two together. Make that a bit bigger. I always like this to look nice, so you've got some sort of feel of how it all works. So it's contact ID to contact ID, one to many. Enforce referential integrity. That means you won't be able to create a contact in this tracing table if the contact does not already exist in this table. Stops you creating orphan records. Create. There's the link. Save. Close. So now when I create a form, I need to create a form, let's just click on the form. That's done the wizard, don't like that. So I'll do it, get rid of that. We'll do it manually, create a form in design. So we go to design, we need the property sheet, we need to select contacts 1, that's the main table. Then we can go to the fields and click on the top one, hold your shift key down, click on the bottom one and drag all these onto wherever you want them. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time positioning these, but obviously you would have to sort this out. And then we need a subform, which is this one. Draw a subform, and that's just going to be a table contact tracing 1, that one. We need all the fields. Next. So we're using the top one, can't really see what it's showing you, but that's what it is. And then we can just finish off. Finish. And then we'll probably have to sort this out a little bit, make this a little bit longer and then a lot narrower than it is at the minute. So it's quite deep. And I find this really frustrating personally, getting out of these. Let's just see if I can move that down. That little thing there, such a fiddly feature. It's been like that for years and it's never been sorted out. And I've tried to do it on different computers, so it can't be my computer. Unless it's just me not being able to identify that. So all this would need to be sorted out with extending these, which you can do in a different session. But let's have a quick look. Okay, so there's a contact person. If you test positive, all the people that they've been in contact with, you would list them there. The people you need to contact, you would list them there. So in this particular one, we don't need to have that there. So we'll just hide that one. Okay, then we can run reports based on whether they've been contacted or not contacted, whether they tested positive or not positive, whether they're isolating or not, based on this being a positive test. So all of that will have to be done through queries, and then reports, which is not for this session, on the next session. So that's the end of this. We'll pick this up at a later date. Hopefully you've enjoyed that, and I'll catch you on the next session.